mention to Sandra Faber. Sandra Faber is a cosmologist, a rather famous and notable cosmologist at UC Santa Cruz. She's now emeritus. But she's been thinking for a long time about the future of Earth. And she would like to create a future of Earth, or an Earth Futures initiative. And the idea is that no concept of the future is complete unless we think on cosmic timescales. That understanding the sustainability of life here on planet Earth is intricately tied to understanding planetary habitability and where life might exist out in the universe. The two go hand in hand. So when we go out and we search for life in the universe, we're learning something about the sustainability of life right here on planet Earth. But the other thing that I think, and I put 1,000,000 years down at the bottom because that's the time scale, the cosmic time scale that she has in mind. Not just with regards to astrophysics, but also with regards to ethics, economies, all of the other very complex questions that we're dealing with today. Who lives, who dies in this Anthropocene? I think that this is very important, and I think that what Santa Cruz is bringing to the table is also an ethics perspective. And so I'm ending this talk with this slide. I was in Denmark last week, and at the art museum, the main art museum in the center of Aarhus, they have a temporary exhibit. And this one, I can't pronounce the artist's name, Ki Zije, maybe, I'm not sure. Apologies if I botched that. But this artist has created a map of technological ethics. So it looks like an old map of the world, and what you're seeing here is just a piece of it. The map is gigantic. It's across floor to ceiling, across a huge wall. And every geological feature is labeled with an ethical conundrum that we are facing today. And I sat there and I studied this map quite carefully. And nowhere did I see the kinds of ethical conundrums that I myself am facing. For example, somebody comes to me and says, I think we can make a lot of money for exoplanets, Natalie. I think that we should market it as like the search for Earth 2.0. And what goes through my mind is, well, that's great, except one, it implies colonialism. Two, it implies we've screwed up this world and now we need a backup plan. And I don't think that that's the mentality that we should have. So that's an example of an ethical conundrum. We are about to become interplanetary, an interplanetary species. What are our moral, ethical responsibilities as scientists as we embark on that? Do we have any? Should we even be asking the questions or having the conversation? And the list goes on. But the reason I'm bringing it up here is because 2 days before I was invited to give this talk, not 2 days, a week and 2 days, I was having dinner with Doug Lynn, another famous theoretical exoplanet scientist. Doug Lynn and I were talking. It was the first time I had ever had a serious conversation about panspermia in a way that I had never thought of before. And basically the idea was, if we are really as a human species in dire straits, at what point do we think about preserving this incredible complexity that has arisen here on planet Earth? And should we? I don't know what the answer is to that. It actually quite terrifies me. Right now, I would love for you to prove me wrong. But going into this exercise of these 2 days, first of all, I'm glad we're having the dialogue. Second of all, I think that we need to keep in mind as a scientific community that we need to be talking to the philosophers about the ethics of what we're doing. Thank you very much for having me. Do we have time for questions? Did I speak too long? Okay, good. I think I'm